mi nombre es Brenda Nájera, madre de familia de 3 estudiantes en el Distrito 5 y también he sido padre voluntario de CCSA Family por los últimos 3 años. Voy a empezar con otras 2 preguntas, sí o no, por favor, solo contesten. Mi pregunta 1 es, ¿se beneficiarán los alumnos de LAUSD si el distrito pidiera más flexibilidad al estilo charter para sus propias escuelas? Por favor, solo conteste sí o no.
Hi, my name is Brenda Nájera, and I'm a parent of 3 students in Ward District 5, and I've also been CCSA Families Leader for the past 3 years. I'm going to start with 2 more questions, yes or no, so please only answer yes or no. The first question is, would LAUSD students benefit if the district pushed for more charter-like flexibility for its own schools? Please only answer yes or no.
Yes. Sorry.
Gracias. Pregunta número 2. ¿Debe ser capaz el distrito de negar las escuelas charter basándose en la disminución de inscripciones del distrito o los desafíos financieros? Por favor, solo conteste sí o no.
Second question, should the district be able to deny charter schools based on the district's declining enrollment or financial challenges? Please only answer yes or no.
Gracias. Gracias. Para mi última pregunta, tengo una pregunta abierta. Por favor, conteste en 90 segundos o menos. Cada 5 años, las escuelas charter deben ser renovadas basándose en que también están sirviendo a los estudiantes. En el pasado, el Estado ha declarado normas para cómo se deben evaluar las escuelas charter, pero no lo han hecho en los últimos años. Dada la falta de orientación del Estado, ¿cómo debe el LAUSD actualizar el criterio para la renovación de las escuelas charter para que la autorización local de las charter sea clara, consistente y centrada en el aprendizaje estudiantil?
Thank you. For my final question, I have an open-ended question. Please answer in 90 seconds or less. Every 5 years, charter schools need to be renewed or denied based on how well they are serving students. In the past, the state has set standards for how charter schools should be evaluated, but they have not done this in the last few years. Given the lack of guidance from the state, how should LAUSD update charter renewal criteria so that local charter authorizing is clear, consistent, and focused on student learning?
Sure. As a parent, I think that we all deserve the best schools for our kids. I think it's really important that we have the opportunity to look at charter schools, at how they're performing for our kids. I think that's the main criteria upon which they should be evaluated. I'm probably a little bit different. I'm really running to improve LAUSD schools. I really want to support LAUSD in bringing the types of flexibility, smaller class size, and innovation that we've seen at charters. I think there are some really good charters out there providing solutions for our communities, but I do think we need a lot more transparency. I think we need a lot more accountability, and I think we need to really have an evaluation of how the different charter schools are performing. I think that the ones that are performing well and truly providing a solution for communities that LAUSD has failed for many years, we should support those charter schools. But the charter schools that are not doing well, the charter schools that are not doing better than LAUSD schools, I don't think that they should be reauthorized. You know, charters are granted as kind of an experiment. We're giving away public funds to say, hey, go see if you can do better than us. I think we need to evaluate over 5 years, and if the schools aren't doing better, if the experiment is not successful, I don't think that those charters should be renewed. But for those that are providing good solutions for our communities, I support those charter schools. Thank you.
You may have to repeat the question. I'm all for high standards, always. Even as a parent, even as a hospital administrator, as a school, even as a council member and mayor. Here in the city of Bell, we brought transparency to a lot of governments in the state of California and beyond. The A in Valencia stands for accountability. We know how to hold people accountable. We've held our school administrators, when we're parent activists, accountable. We hold our teachers accountable. At LAUSD, it's not just about removing schools on the charter side that are failing us. Schools everywhere are failing us. We need funds. We need to find funds to help our communities, because at the end of the day, the school that our children may go to could be a public charter school or a regular school. And both schools need funding. And we need LAUSD to work better for this community, for our children. And put our children first. If we have to go to Sacramento, or we have to go to federal government, we need an advocate, a parent advocate, to come and get more funding. Thank you.
I'm going to try to be as direct with this question as I understood it. So, to me, the question was about how are we going to actualize the criteria for consistent and clear and focused on student learning. So, for me, I would draft a motion so that we put together a field team so that we can create what's necessary to have a profile for all of the schools. And that field team would include parents, it would include teachers. Very important that we include students in that process so that everyone has a voice in the stake and the outcome of the profiles for each of the schools. And it should also include the administrators as well as our district staff so that we make sure that everybody has a voice and we're all in agreement as to what it is that we're actually looking for the profile of high quality schools, and we can base it off of that.
I think accountability is an important part of public education. I truly believe that this conversation about accountability and guidance on how to provide charter schools in our community needs to take place in Sacramento. I think that in itself shows a profound lack of leadership in our public education. I do believe that charter school has a very important role to play in our public education. I just have a problem with charter school picking and choosing the students. What about Maria, the single mother in South Central who had to work 90 hours a week because she had to pay the rent? That mother's child doesn't have a chance in charter school because they play this lottery thing. I think that's an important part. Accountability part is an important part of the conversation, but that cannot be taken place if the parents are not at the table. I think that we need to bring the parents, and that is my number one focus and this my candidacy. I want to empower parents. I want them to have a place to the table so we can all make decisions collectively. Thank you.
Well, I love this question. This goes right into my field of expertise. At Columbia University, I graduated and I worked in educational research and program evaluation. What does that mean? That means that I take research data and I analyze it and I write reports. And that's what I did when I worked for the program evaluation and research branch for LAUSD. First I did some research in local districts, and the local district schools, and then I was transferred to the charter renewal division, where I went to charter schools and conducted evaluations. I was basically doing exactly that. I was looking at their charter, the schools were up for charter renewal, so I would look at their petition, and I collected data, and I interviewed everybody, and I analyzed it. And there are reports that are on the LAUSD right now that you can look up that has my name, and I actually conducted a research for Camino Nuevo. So I have all that information with me, and that is part of what I will do. is that I have plans on how we can improve on the charter school renewals. What my experience is that I saw great charter schools who were doing wonderful work, and I was very motivated and inspired. But at the same time, I went to charter schools that sent me home crying. I literally went home crying to the things that I saw by principals and teachers in the classrooms. But as a researcher, I was only there to do the analysis, and that's it. I wanted to give recommendations. I wanted to help improve these charter schools. And that's what I will do, improve our charter schools that are not performing well. Thank you.
Muchas gracias por la pregunta. Creo que lo que tenemos que hacer es parar con las etiquetas. Charter schools, public schools, todas son nuestras escuelas en nuestro distrito. Y lo que tenemos que hacer es tener contabilidad para todas nuestras escuelas. En ese primer día, como miembros de la mesa directiva, tenemos que asegurarnos que todas las escuelas de nuestra área están siendo exitosas. ¿Y cómo hacemos eso? Aseguramos que los padres tengan una voz, aseguramos que la comunidad tenga una voz y aseguramos que los estudiantes tengan una voz. Una cosa que aseguramos es que empoderamos a los estudiantes. Eso es muy importante porque ellos son el futuro. Y eso es lo que hago yo todos los días y lo he estado haciendo por 12 años. Tenemos que asegurarnos que todas nuestras escuelas, en nuestras ciudades, en nuestras comunidades, en el sureste, en el norte-este, sean las mejores escuelas, porque solamente así vamos a tener muy buenas comunidades exitosas. Muchas gracias.
I think the question leads to a stark reality we face, that we don't have time to wait for Sacramento, that parents are on the ground already, and these schools, public charter schools, public district schools, they serve all of us. There's a diverse array of families here that are served by district schools. My daughter is a student at a district school, and we're applying to all different types of schools for her kindergarten year. And the bottom line for me as a parent is that the evaluation, assessment of whether a school is failing or not needs to be equivalent, because these are all public schools. Whether my child next year ends up going to a district kindergarten or a charter or a magnet, the assessment needs to be fair. It's about whether they succeed or not. And when I look at our open data tool, LAFC's open data tool, and I see that my neighborhood school, only 1 out of every 4 of our students are meeting or exceeding reading and math standards, that's not acceptable to me. That's failing. That's a failing school. So my conversation isn't around, are we going to shut down schools or not allow schools to continue, but really assess, are we treating these different types of schools fairly with a lens of if students are succeeding or not. And I think we need to standardize that across the board. And we don't have time to wait for Sacramento or maybe another 2 years for another panel and field team. So thank you.
Yo trabajo en una escuela de piloto del distrito que tiene autonomías como charters. Hay 48 en el distrito que muchas familias no conocen y yo era la presidenta de las 48 para asegurar proteger sus autonomías. Yo sé que Grace también trabaja en una de las escuelas piloto. El problema que hay es que es a contabilidad. Yo quiero cambiar cómo tenemos a las escuelas a contables, porque no solamente los charter schools tienen a contabilidad de manera que perjudican a los demás. Por ejemplo, no servir a todos los estudiantes. Las escuelas les dicen, si no funcionan bien y van alto, las vamos a cerrar. Pues, ¿qué va a causar? Que las personas hagan lo que necesitan para tener a ciertos alumnos para mejorarlos. Si no, van a perder su escuela. Yo quiero mejor cambiar la contabilidad, a ver que todas las escuelas estén sirviendo a todos los alumnos, ya sean educación especial, recientes llegados del país. Si cambiamos la manera en que juzgamos a contabilidad, podemos cambiar ese sistema. Es muy importante que nos reunamos porque en vez de competir, estamos en la misma parte de la pelea. Tenemos alumnos en el distrito también, tienen magnet, no sirven a todos. Tienen escuelas avanzadas para gifted, no sirven a todos. Así que es muy importante cambiar cómo vemos a contabilidad y enfocarnos en por qué empezaron las charters para compartir lo que hacen bien, enfocarnos en eso primero y cambiar la manera en que los mantenemos a contables para no tener que cerrar escuelas.
Como profesora, yo entiendo que el éxito de mis estudiantes es mi éxito. Primeramente, hay que enfocarnos en la contabilidad de cada escuela. Y la verdad no me gusta que la gente dice que las escuelas charter le está quitando el dinero a las otras escuelas. Eso no es cierto. No es cierto. Las escuelas charter son escuelas públicas. Todos estamos en el mismo sistema. Significa que tenemos que trabajar juntos para asegurar que nuestros niños y maestros y maestras y escuelas en Distrito 5 tengan los mismos recursos que otras áreas. Mi gente, el distrito escolar les miente que dice, oh, todos los distritos tienen los mismos recursos. No es cierto. Las escuelas de otros lugares que tienen mucho dinero tienen mejores maestros, mejores recursos, y aquí necesitamos justicia, igualdad para nuestros hijos. Esa mentira de escuela charter y no escuela charter es una diversión. El tema principal es justicia, igualdad para nuestras comunidades. Yo trabajaré con todos ustedes para asegurar que no importa cuál escuela, que tengamos lo que tienen los niños ricos, blancos en otras áreas. Gracias.
I think we need to hold charter schools accountable the same way that we hold any school across the district. I think we need to strive to be high-performing neighborhood schools across the district. I really like the point that was made earlier about we need a representative that's going to push to make sure that District 5 schools are the best in the district. Let's stop with excuses. There's no reason to say that District 5 schools cannot be the best in the district. We need to evaluate in a transparent way that's clear, data-driven, that arms parents and family members with the data. We've seen it, especially here in the Southeast cities. A lot of our governments don't always share data and they're not being transparent. We need to hold charter schools accountable just as well as public schools. I've worked for federal government. Before heading to DC to work for Obama, I worked for Yoli Flores, who was a representative for the LA Unified. With Yoli, I worked as a staffer in Beaudry at LA Unified headquarters, so I know how that system works, and I'm going to work to make it work for families and students. When I was working with Yoli, we built this school here, Orchard Academies, and we did it in a way that encouraged small schools and options. Parents want options and they want to be able to have transparent data. So that's what we need to work to do, is make sure that we're giving parents options, but that overall we're ensuring high quality schools across the board. Enough already with the excuses and the red tape and bureaucracy. We need to arm educators, teachers, principals, and stakeholders with the tools they need so that our kids can succeed in school. Thank you.
The premise of charter schools is to have more innovation and flexibility in exchange for accountability. And so I think accountability is really important. I think it's disappointing that we actually don't have clear accountability from the state, because as parents, it's really hard to tell how our school is doing. So I do think it is important that the district and their authorizing role have clear expectations and consistent expectations for charter schools and for traditional public schools. I think those expectations need to be clear. They need to be related to graduation rates, proficiency for all students, looking at how English learners are doing, looking at how students with special needs are doing, looking at growth as well, looking at parent survey data, making sure all of our schools are being fiscally responsible and are demonstrating the right governance practices. And I'd like to see this for all public schools, both charters and district public schools, so that we as parents can really understand what our options are and how we're going to get excellence for all students. Thank you.